Yo, what's up? Welcome to the special episode of PS I Love You XOXO. Of course, I am Blessing Adeoye Jr. And this is an interesting one because this episode is a special episode. I did an interview with some folks over at Sucker Punch Productions about Ghost of Tsushima Legends. If you listen to the previous episode of PS I Love You XOXO, then you probably know that this interview was supposed to go into that episode, but because of some editing errors, it got left out. Well, here it is for you. It's me interviewing Nate Fox and Darren Bridges over at Sucker Punch Productions, all about Ghost of Tsushima Legends. And it's awesome, too, because it lines up with the raid, which is coming out Friday, which should be today as of the time that this posts. And so without further ado, here's me, Nate Fox, Darren Bridges, Ghost of Tsushima Legends. Enjoy. Yo, what's up? My name is Blessing Adeoye Jr. I'm joined today by Nate Fox, the creative director at Sucker Punch Productions, and Darren Bridges, the senior game designer and the lead on Ghost of Tsushima Legends. Fellas, how's it going?
It's going good, man. Excited to be here.
It's a good time to be alive and online.
Yes. I'm very excited to talk to you guys because I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima Legends nonstop. And as I've been playing it over this last weekend, and I'm sure by the time people are listening to this, it's been another week of me playing, I've had about 1 million questions about this game because it came out feeling like it feels like it came out of nowhere, right? Like, you guys put out Ghost of Tsushima, everybody loved it, and then months passed, and you guys announced this thing, and now it's here, and it's this update with quite a few things in it, right? You have New Game Plus, which is awesome, but you then have Ghost of Tsushima Legends, which is this brand new co-op mode that adds in so much. And so I guess my first question is, where did this come from?
Well, it came from a dark corner that we kept it secret for a long time. We knew, at the very first pitch for Ghost of Tsushima, we said we wanted co-op to be a pillar of the game. But we also knew that Ghost was going to be a very story-focused, grounded experience. So we spent about 6 months to a year, trying to figure out how co-op could integrate with, like, how we could kind of take those two goals and make them work together. And eventually, we came to the idea of Legends, basically that you're playing through these stories that are being told by a storyteller in Tsushima. And so that allowed us to maintain, the groundedness and Jin's story, but also have this kind of this other mode that kind of runs in parallel. It's connected, but in parallel. So it was funny when Ghost launched and leading up to it, but especially after Ghost launched, all my friends were like, "What part did you work on?" They're playing the game, they're like, "I love it. What did you work on?" And I was just like, we haven't, I can't say anything. We haven't even announced it yet. So it was a bizarre experience.
So you've been working on this since pretty much the inception of Ghost of Tsushima.
Yep.
Wow. So
it didn't just come out of nowhere, man. And props to everyone at Sucker Punch who diligently didn't talk about it while they were out at lunch in restaurants. Keeping a lid on Legends mode was hard, but the team did it.
Yeah, like, I couldn't imagine, like, what was that like in terms of the decision making of not announcing this with the first announcement of Ghost of Tsushima, the Ghost of Tsushima proper, and keeping this until post-launch?
It was tough. It was interesting because you're kind of doing a risk reward thing where you want to have it be this surprise that you can announce really late, but every month that you wait, the kind of risk of leaking goes up because you're bringing in more play testers. As the game gets printed or as it goes out, more people get involved in the process. So there's kind of like the tension was rising the entire time. It was, we were amazed and incredibly happy that we were able to offer it as a surprise, a free surprise for players, like after they had already been, happy with what they purchased.
So how's the response been like? Like, I know that I've loved it. I've talked about it nonstop to my friends, but I know there's not necessarily like a big Metacritic drop for Ghost of Tsushima Legends per se. And so, like, have you guys been keeping your ear to the internet, I guess? Like, have you guys been seeing what everybody's been having to say about it?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, kind of obsessively, I guess. Yes is the answer to that. I mean, it's we're looking at our Reddit, Discord, Twitter, everything, and even playing with, like, we're jumping in and playing with people and kind of seeing what the experience is like to jump in with randos and so yeah, we're super interested in what people are saying. It's kind of an unusual product in that it's an update. It's not a separate DLC that you download and pay for. So yeah, it's not on. It's kind of the Metacritic thing. It doesn't fit typical patterns of game releases.
Certainly a new experience. I don't know about you, Darren, but we've made a lot of games and released them. This is the first time where we put it out, and the second the game is launched, you can go and play with people on the internet and just get a real, earnest, immediate response to how much fun they're having and where they're having fun. It's exciting.
What have been sort of the big takeaways from both doing New Game Plus and having Tsushima Legends out? Like, I know for me, playing, the biggest thing that has kind of blown my mind is the gear system and how it seems like you guys put in so much work into making this not just a not just a one and done kind of multiplayer game where it is, all right, yeah, go out on co-op missions and have fun. There is a progression there that seems like it can carry forward. I know you guys have a raid coming up. It seems like you guys have post-launch ideas in mind, or at least the seeds of that are in there. Have you guys had any like big takeaways from seeing the reception, playing the games with people, playing the game with folks online, seeing what they have to say about it, but then also like for what the future of this thing is going to look like?
I mean, we are listening to people for sure. From the beginning, and part of the reason we decided to break it off into Legends was that we wanted to be able to have the freedom to, design the progression loops and the session time and all these elements of the game to optimize for co-op. And so it's really, I hope, in designing it, we're trying to make something that people could continuously play, easily jump in with their friends, and not worry about like, oh, how far along are you and all this stuff. Like, we want to make it as kind of user friendly as possible for people to jump in, and continuously rewarding. When you have replayable content, you want to have freshness in the gameplay, but you also want to have that motivational stream of rewards that is like one more game. Oh, and I got a new reward. I want to go back and play again and try it out. And so, all the stuff has to be, all the pieces and components have to be there in order to keep it like motivating and fun. And as you said, like the raid, coming up ahead is kind of the North Star for the content. Like everything you're doing, the coordination, the team, the friends you're bringing together to play, all the gear you're building up to, there's a target for it. From the beginning, we wanted to make sure that we're saying, hey guys, all the progression you're getting is leading somewhere, and there will be this big in-game content piece that it will all be relevant for, and it will all be tested,
Yeah. No, that's the thing that has me really excited, because it has me something to strive for. Right now, I'm at, I want to say, key level 74 as the time we're recording this. And like, it's been one of those things where I'm like, all right, I can tell, I know the harder missions, like the nightmare challenges, I believe are like, what, 110 you have to get to? Or is it 90?
That's the gear reward. You have to get to 90 to be eligible for them. Yep.
Yeah, so like right now, yeah, I made that my goal is, all right, I got to get to 90 so I can get into the nightmare challenges and see what those are about. And then yeah, like with a raid coming up, I want to make sure that I'm as leveled up as possible so I can get through that. Because props to you guys playing the actual story missions. There are one of my main pet peeves when it comes to games as service type games or like co-op like gear games is when it feels like I am not having to work together with another player. Like when it feels like we're just going through the same level and taking out baddies, and there's not really much of a co-op experience. It's just us. It's just us existing in the same space. Props to you guys. I feel like in the story missions alone, there have been enough mechanics in there to make me go, all right, cool. Like, how are we going to coordinate this? All right, look, there are attunements. Okay, cool. I'm going to go for orange. You go for blue. I'll get the orange enemies. You get the blue enemies, right? Or like things along the lines of like the healing drums, which you have to kind of coordinate on. And even survival mode, there's plenty of reason to want to talk back and forth with your co-op teammates there. having that experience makes me go, oh man, this raid might be really awesome. Like, given that there are hints of these teamwork moments in the story, how much of a focus for you guys was it trying to make this like a truly co-op experience and like making people work together in that way?
I mean, it was honestly, it was 100% of our focus, you know, especially in the context of having made Ghost, or having Ghost in, you know, being made at the same time. We knew that we were going to deliver players. If you just want to play single player experience, you have that in hand. There's going to be this huge single player experience. So in building Ghost, or in building Legends, we wanted to focus on, you know, we wanted to be completely tuned toward co-op. And so the way that we built the mechanics and the way that we like the enemies and like you said, like attunement and the spirit bow and things like that, it was all designed with the idea of inviting player co-op. You know, in two-player in two-player stories and in survival, we knew that we wanted to allow, you know, random people to play together. So we didn't want to require co-op at a high enough level to say you have to be on voice chat. You know, we wanted it to be something that players could kind of coordinate without having to talk. But in the raid, we're cranking all the knobs up to 11. You know, we're saying, yes, you have to coordinate, you have to work together. And so I feel like two-player and like story and survival missions, it's kind of like encouraged co-op, you know, but you can solo it. But in the raid, it's like mandatory co-op and coordination. So I hope that delivers, you know, kind of the ultimate teamwork experience. And I think that's part of the fun of co-op, is when you feel like you and your team are communicating, coordinating. There's a kind of emotional high and a connection that you can get with your friends when it's like, we had to rely on each other to get through this. So that's, you know, we'll see what people think, but that's our intent. That's our design intent for the raid.
So what does post raid look like? And I might be getting into, we can't answer this territory, which you can just say, but like after the raid, do you guys plan to add in new story missions? Do you plan to add in new survival? Like how much can people expect from post launch of Legends?
The raid is our culminating content. I think we will have continuing rotating weekly challenges or weekly nightmare challenges going on after that, but definitely the raid is the kind of
like the climax, essentially.
Yeah, the climax, exactly.
Yeah.
And you can, you know, it's replayable, and every week, like there's weekly rewards for continuing to play it, so you can keep, you know, trying it with different comps, or, you know, trying out leveling up different classes and getting one of the things I've enjoyed in playing it is getting, you know, I'm chasing legendary gear, and you get one legendary gear piece, and it's like I go back to my build and like, oh, how could I combine these things, and how can I rebuild and then take that in and play it again. So I think there will be some longevity in just replaying the raid and getting new legendary gear, and then, you know, trying out different team comps. And there's, you know, there's individual cosmetic rewards for playing it, like completing it with different classes, completing it at different kind of standards of like there's different rewards for completing it if you get all the treasure chests at the same time. So kind of getting all the bonus objectives, you'll get new stuff too. So I think there'll be a lot of life there. But yeah, that's our kind of culminating team experience for Legends.
So how do you Ghost of Tsushima, the single player, and Legends, how do they connect in terms of story? Because this is the thing that we were kind of talking about on the previous episode of PS Love You XOXO, and Greg brought up the idea that, oh no, like the story in Legends seems to be a story that it seems to be Jin's story told from the idea that, oh yeah, the folks that heard about this go down, right? Like they don't realize that this is all one person. They must have theorized that, oh yeah, no, there was a hunter and there was an assassin, there's this and there's that. How do those stories connect?
So you're exactly right. In the single player game, the player is building the legend of the ghost. Now they know that they're Jin Sakai, but stories of the ghost's exploits, they just grow over time. And you'll meet people in the game, in the single player game, who, when they realize that Jin is the ghost, they say, I thought you'd be taller. I thought you had lightning shooting out of your eyes. You're just a normal person. So his legend has preceded him. And some people on the island believe that there's no way that one person could have done all of this work to take back the island. So these stories that Gyozan are telling is his theory about how the island is being taken back. And these are his stories. And you get to interact with them through the Legends co-op landscape.
That's awesome. Probably my final question, and one that I'm also not sure if you can answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. When is the raid coming? Like, when can we expect that?
In the weeks ahead, we'll announce a date soon.
Sweet, yeah. Awesome. Darren, Nate, thank you guys so much for coming through. I really appreciate you guys answering my questions. I mean, like, I usually I ask people, like, where can the folks find you if they want to follow you? But I guess, yeah. Where can people follow you on Twitter? I guess.
On Twitter.
You're not on Twitter, is what you said?
No.
Oh,
I'm
dang.
not. Sorry.
Me neither.
I'm like a
really?
I'm a deeply dyslexic person who can't spell to save his life, and Twitter's just too much pressure, man.
Listen, I don't blame you. Twitter, as much as I get enjoyment from it, I also get a lot. It's a source of pain and a source of pleasure at the same time. Where you go on Twitter and you see the worst news, but also, like, people have good jokes there sometimes. But yeah, I guess people can just follow at Sucker Punch on Twitter if you want to get all those Ghost of Tsushima updates. So there you go. Again, Darren, Nate, thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate this. I guess back to you, Greg.